All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 26 of the House Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Handler, one of the founders of the Handler Zimmerman team over at Keller Williams Realty Elite in Massapequa. And everybody wants to keep asking, is the market going to cool down? Is the market going to cool down? And honestly, it's as hot as it is outside these last 2 days. It's brutal. It's not cooling down anytime soon. Rates are staying ultra low. Buyers are in a frenzy still. No houses. You name it, they're still an issue. So right now. Wanted to bring on Ace, who's with us today. It's very important, in my opinion, social media aspect these days. Any company, regardless if you're in real estate, if you're in, if you're a hair salon, if you're a food restaurant, like I don't think it matters. I think you should be on social media. I think if you're not on social media, you're doing yourself or your business a total disservice. So that leads us to today's guest, Ace from FMO Media out in Patchogue. Thanks for coming.
Glad to be here, Josh. Thanks, man. So, like Josh said, yeah, Ace Alfal, CEO, founder of FMO Media. And yeah, just to give you some insight on our company, we work very strongly in the real estate industry. About 90% of our portfolio is dealing mainly with brokers nationwide, everything from lending to real estate attorneys to just everything real estate you can possibly think of, investors. We know the market in and out. And it's really cool because I get to pick brokers and agents' minds from around the countries and see all different types of perspectives.
Right.
I know nobody has a crystal ball on where we're going, but it's always interesting to see when someone kind of puts a different spin on what's going to happen in the markets. Yeah, didn't think of that. But I'm excited to be here, Josh.
No, thanks for coming. So we'll dive right in. So obviously you gave like a quick little blurb, but give us a little pitch of what you guys did before you got into the marketing aspect of the company, a little background about yourself, and then what led to FMO Media.
Yeah, 100%. So my background is in sales. I've been in sales my whole life, and obviously I always say if you're an entrepreneur or want to be a business owner in any way, shape, or form, including real estate, sales is not a bad skill to learn.
Not
the
at all.
sooner the better. I'm a high school dropped out of high school in 10th grade. School's never the route for me. Got into sales real early and did everything from being a district manager at ADP, the payroll company, all the way to doing audio branding, all the way actually in the UK. I was over there and I brought some of that over to the US and helps expand a company with audio branding here. So then working for a company, Toast, the point of sale company. You've ever been in a restaurant? You have like a Toast tablet. And I helped expand the Northeast region and kind of open that up. And that kind of opened the door for marketing at the time because I was dealing 100% in hospitality, was growing a sales team, and saw the need for social media and just the lack thereof. So hit it pretty hard and converted a lot of my Toast customers into social media clients in the very beginning, very strong.
Absolutely.
In the Long Island and New York area. Saw the need, really just started pitching it. I knew marketing just from doing, I was director of sales and marketing at one of the companies. So had the marketing background, understood the need for it, understood what audiences need to get what, right? And really get attention, right? Because really just marketing is just real estate of attention, essentially. Right. And started pitching, started getting some people actually paying me. And I was like, wow, I guess I have to actually start delivering some service and some goods here. So I actually did that part-time for quite a little bit and was doing that on the side and then went all in a couple of years back. And we always were working with real estate agents and brokers, but we started in hospitality and it slowly converted more and more. And once COVID hit, then we really exploded because a lot of hospitality went down. The real estate market blew up and things just went nuts. We went from being really a New York company to now being in 48 of the 50 states.
That's
awesome. Just growing at a very fast limit and going from me and a couple of people to now about 50 employees and growing, so the company's on the grow big time. And, we're working really hard to staff and make the right hires. So we have limited bandwidth and we're being smart with who we work with. So we deliver the same quality of service to our customers. But that's the background in a nutshell.
No, that's awesome. And I wanted to touch on real quick, because you said, you're trying to capture all these, attention basically of everybody. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you guys know, but what is when people, for social media aspect, I feel a lot of people put out content, but they're putting out content sometimes the wrong way. Mm-hmm. So they always say, what, you have like 7 seconds or something like that to capture somebody's attention before they scroll to the next,
Yep. 100%. You hit the nail right on the head. And there's actually several different things, right? If you want to capture someone's attention, and people love to learn stuff. Did you know, right? Ask a question. Did you hear? Hey, this just happened. You have to have some sort of statement for the hook, right? We call it the hook in marketing. That's going to grab someone's attention in less than that second, right? And
Right.
talking fast helps really, really as well. So if you can capture someone's attention, then you can deliver the message afterwards. And depending on which platform you're on, the algorithm is going to run differently. And right now, three main platforms where people should be focusing all their attention is Reels, TikTok, and LinkedIn, right? So those right now, that's where you're going to have the most organic growth. Mainly,
Shocking. I didn't expect you to say LinkedIn.
100%. Mainly TikTok and LinkedIn, the most organic growth right now. There hasn't been any restrictions put on those yet. So those are the only two platforms you can walk in day one, 0 followers, put up a post, and if it's the right post and it gets the right hook and enough people comment and engage with it, it can hit a couple of million people in one
Wow.
day with no followers. So only two platforms you can do that. Instagram Reels is now allowing to some degree that because because they know that right now, like Instagram just a few weeks ago just made the announcement they're no longer a photography app, meaning that they're 100% video because they need to compete with TikTok. Now, if you think about Instagram in a nutshell, what is the platform? They're being very reactive instead of proactive. Because if you think about what happened with stories, where did stories come from? It was to compete with Snapchat, right?
Right.
So they reacted to Snapchat and said, hey, we have more people than they do. So if we can just duplicate it, we're in a good spot to do the same
Right.
thing. Now, what's Reels? It's them reacting to TikTok because TikTok actually just surpassed Instagram and YouTube. So TikTok is officially the biggest platform on the
Wow.
planet right now. So right now, as far as capturing attention, and if we could rewind back time to 2013, 14, and everybody was on Facebook, and we brought up Instagram, everybody be like, "Oh, that's for the kids," right? So I'll jump on that later. And now what happens? 2017, 18, everybody's trying to play catch up. And right
Right.
now, TikTok is that platform where it's for the kids, and no, it's not. It is 100% not. Now the age demographics, it's reached their 30s recently. So to get people 30 to 35, they're on there 100% and they're watching, and it's going to continue to grow and grow and grow. So you need to get on the platform early. TikTok actually just made an announcement not too long ago. They're now paying their creators to create content based on views similar to YouTube. They're the first platform to do that besides YouTube because Instagram's not doing that either. So now a lot of creators are now starting to move over there to create content because they're going to get paid. And now this is just creating more of like a feeding frenzy. So if you're someone you're like, man, I'm throwing a lot of information at you real quick here, but TikTok right now, if you're anybody in any business, I would be doing 2, 3, 4, 5 posts, and you can even go on my TikTok, Ace Alfala, right now. And I want to make sure I'm a practitioner for what we're teaching. So I just started going nuts on my own TikTok, and I've been doing 3, 4, 5 posts a day. And I literally went from just started posting literally just last Monday, right? Because we're doing this for our clients, and great, it's working. But I want to make sure, hey, I can show, hey, I'm doing it with my own account as well. I'm being a practitioner of what we're teaching, and literally went from 5 followers to right now 5,700 followers and less than 10 days, all organic, right? But it's, and I got lucky, and I made a super clickbaity first image, right? And it was about real estate, and it was how to get a loan, and put something really ridiculous like how to buy a building with no money, but it was just talking about how you can get a loan, but it got 150,000 views, and I grew to 3,000 followers literally within like 3 days. But that's the type of stuff that can happen to anybody, right? That can happen to anybody. So if I had a recommendation and you're listening to this and you're like, man, I'm going to get on TikTok right now, where do I start? They're literally, if you go to their creator portal, it's in the settings, you go click on it, they literally give you advice and explain the whole algorithm and keep it up to date at all times. So you can go there and learn everything you need from TikTok. And my recommendation is pick a niche, whatever it is. If you're in the real estate market, you're going to be in real estate, right? Pick a niche, keep in mind, consistently post out content within that niche 75% of the time. 25% of the time, put one post that's trending, right? So mix it up. It could be whatever it is, but make sure it's within the same niche. Don't post some dog stuff and you're in real estate, because what happens is TikTok follows an algorithm, and they're going to want to push that out to other real estate people or investors or people in the business world. And now that one dog post may screw up the algorithm a little bit. So now when you put up your next 2 or 3 posts, you may be like, hey, what happened to all the engagement I was getting? So if you're going to do something like that, you just have to be consistent with whatever you're doing is basically what I'm telling you. So push it out, be consistent with it. And then the other side of the equation on TikTok is make sure that, like, right now, the business world, right, and the investing in real estate is the number one fastest growing thing on TikTok. So there's a lot of young people on there that want to learn how to make money. They want to learn how to get their credit right. They want to learn how to buy their first home. They want to know how to fix and flip a property. So the market's out there, and there's not enough information that's out there. So you can literally get in there now, and if you're consistent and you can get creative enough and you stick with the niche, you can literally go from zero. What I think is 100,000, from 0 to 100,000 followers in probably 6 months or less. So
Right.
so this is something that's like unheard of. This is Facebook
It's crazy.
2007. This is Instagram 2012, 13. So it's unprecedented. And you'll see some of the videos I have on there. I'm giving tips and tricks and all different type of stuff you can do. So the information's out there. This is nothing new. I think most people know they should be doing this. They just haven't.
Right.
And if you have a strategy, I'll just tell you my strategy. Literally, what I do is every night I go down and read a couple of books, watch some YouTube videos, right? Come up with some content for myself. So it doesn't all need to be thought of the head. There's plenty of creators out there, right?
Right.
And say, well, that's a really great video. How can I make that in my own words and make it my own? And then I'll just put out the content again. Or how do I take a 10-minute YouTube video and condense it? Now TikTok is up to 3 minutes. They extended it. You can make a 3-minute video. So how can I make that 3 minutes or less, or 30 seconds or less? And then you make your own version and you spit it out. And literally, it is content over quality on TikTok. So don't get too caught up with the lighting and all that other stuff. All that's going to do is stop you from putting out content. All the content, you'll see a lot of the stuff I put out now, it's in one take. Boom, 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 one take. Mess this up, keep it moving. Just keep it moving.
I think that's so important, because I think a lot of people, when they're first getting into any type of content creation, just starting up on social media, and they want to put their name out there and get their face out there, they're all caught up on, how does this look? Is my hair right? Do I sound stupid? It's like, put it out, and any content is better than no content. And half these people, you're going to put something out and you're going to get 2 likes, and you're like, oh, I took all day to put this together. And then the most easiest thing that you put out there that you thought was, why am I even posting this, you get 1,000 likes, and you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, and it's really just, if somebody was interviewing you, just flip it around. If especially if you've been somebody in the real estate game for a little while, right? Like Josh, perfect example, right? If I was interviewing you right now, what questions would I be asking you, right? How many houses have you bought and sold? What was buying your first home like? Have you ever fixed and flipped? What was it like? What were some mistakes? Those are all content ideas for you to go make tomorrow morning and put it out, right?
Right.
You can literally tell a story of where you screwed up, and people love people being real. So the more genuine you are, the more traction it's going to get. Let me tell you about the biggest mistake I made in my real estate career. Boom, great video to make, right? So that caught my attention. What was it? You know what I'm saying? So let me tell you about the first fix and flip I did. You know what I'm saying? So anything like that, like, people overthink all of this so they don't make it. And once it becomes a part of your routine, where I wake up at 6 a.m., I get in front of my table at 6:30, and from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, I pump out content. That's a part of my new schedule for what I do. And then at 8 o'clock, I get my day started. And then at 9 a.m., I have my first kickoff meeting for FMO Media. So you can easily, there's the time. You just got to figure it out, right? Where are you going to put it in?
Well, that's the thing. If there's always time in the day, everybody always says, oh, I don't have time to do this. I don't have the time to do that. That's the one thing that's been bothering me so much over the last month, because, I still find time. We got a newborn baby. We got all these things going on. We're building a team. We just moved brokerages, and if we don't do things, that affects the team. Now that affects ourselves. That affects business. But if people want to do stuff, I still got to go out there and find time for content creation. I still got to find time for clients. I still got to find time for making sure the team is organized, etc. And people always want to say, I don't have time. I don't have time. No, you have time. It's either you're not motivated enough to do it, or you don't care enough, because if you cared enough, you would wake up that hour early or go to sleep an hour later. Whatever the case may be, there is time if you want to get it done, if it meant enough. Because if there was, oh, I'll give you $10,000 if you can get this done today, I bet your ass you're going to find time, or you're going to stay up that hour later or wake up earlier. But it's,
100%. You make time for whatever's important in your life, right? It is what it is. Like you're married, right? Right, Josh? Yep. So it's like, no matter how busy you are, you're going to make time for your wife. You're going to make time for your kid. No, you got to fit it in. So this is understanding, especially in the industry of real estate. The one advantage you have right now is you could be year one and nobody knows you. You just got your license today. You haven't even aligned yourself with a broker yet. You're just walking out. and it's like you can start creating content right away. Your journey of real estate year one is a story somebody would want to follow, right? So it's easy for you to create your content of, hey, year one in real estate, have no clue what the hell I'm doing, but this is, and people will follow that because how many people are in the same boat that are in year one that are in the same
100%.
spot? So it's the content stuff is easy. Going back to Instagram, the Instagram feed now, like the main static feed. I don't want to say it's become less important, but we all know engagement's gone way down on that. So that's kind of more like the way we view it from a marketing company is that like that's like the new website. Like it's like I find you, just want to make sure you're still in business, want to make sure you look good. Maybe you have some wins or some client testimonials or something on there. But really all the video content should now be on Reels, then stories, then IGTV, and work your way backwards from there. So the new platform that's released on Instagram is always going to get the most push because they need to get people on there, right? So if you were on Reels and more and more people are on it now, but Reels 45, 60 days ago, you could literally scroll and within maybe 30 minutes, you would see the same content start to pop up again. And that's Instagram saying we don't got enough content. So they're trying to get people to pump it out. So what I would do is I would, especially if you don't have a TikTok account yet, and I'm telling you my own strategy because I already have a little bit of a following on Instagram, I'm putting out content on TikTok, seeing what catches traction, right? Because I'm putting out a little bit of everything. I'm talking about crypto and credit and success and kind of seeing what's working and what's not because
Right.
I'm formulating my whole audience right now and it is what it is. And as I start to pick up things that are picking up traction, I can then go ahead and repost it on my Instagram Reels, right? So and now if you're a real estate, it's a little different. You're talking real estate on both pages. You can literally take the same video and put them on both. And you can still see which platforms hits better, right? So there's just a lot of stuff you can do. And I just, people just shouldn't overthink it as much. And I know it can be overwhelming saying like, wow, there's a lot of content. How the hell am I going to do all this? My other recommendation is, and this is something that Gary Vee told me, is document everything. You don't need to create, you just need to document. So for many people that are out, jumping on Zoom calls, talking to clients, showing all that stuff, document as much of it as you can. I get it. Some of it you can't. But document as much as possible on my way to my next show, and you'll see some of that. And I know a lot of people are getting good at that, but document as much as you can, even if you just record it all together, because then what happens, you can combine it and edit it yourself and create that in Reels or TikTok for a story of how you opened and closed the house, how you put up a listing and sold it in 24 hours, how you whatever. You know what I'm saying? So if you record everything, even with your phone, you're documenting everything, and you just make the videos later, midnight, when you're finally in bed. So there's a million ways to kind of do it. And yeah, I get it. There's no excuse. It's just finding the habit, right? It's like getting on a new diet or getting your ass in the gym.
Yeah.
It's like just finding the habit where now that you've done it 3, 4, 5 days in a row, you're like, okay, cool. This is what I'm doing now, right? This is it. So, but yeah, I'm a little bit all over the place, but yeah, that's what I recommend as far as TikTok and as far as Instagram goes. And then LinkedIn is the only one that the message may be a little different because you're speaking to a different audience.
Right.
And LinkedIn, yes, it's more for B2B, especially. So I would say LinkedIn for someone like myself, huge, right? Because I'm trying to connect with as many other business owners as possible, and get my name out there. However, just because you're in real estate, though, it's like I wouldn't like tune that out because again, if everything's about personal brand and no matter who you are the company. So why wouldn't you want more eyeballs on yourself? And if it's through LinkedIn, why not put out the content or get steady of just doing one post a day or one video a day that's relevant again to the real estate field and who you're speaking to, and slowly grow that? Because you literally all you need is one. It's like being a music artist. You just need one hit. You just need one hit, and now everybody knows who you are. So if you get one video that goes viral, that's it. That's it. You
100%. So speaking of getting that one hit, for example, what would you say for somebody that's been posting that has a couple thousand followers? What would you say would be the top things that they should be doing on a daily basis? Number of times they should be posting, if it's a standard post, a story, a reel. What really should they be focusing in on to really start growing the page? If they have 3,000 followers, they want to get to 5 or that milestone 10,000 10,000 follower mark. What's the quickest way to get there?
Yeah, so quickest way to get there right now is going to be it's going to be through Reels. So the way to get new eyeballs on your business or on yourself is going to be through Reels. And we put out a real challenge in our company, right? A real challenge. And the purpose of that is, and we're challenging our own clients who are stuck on, I want X amount of posts on my feed. And it's like, we can do that, but that's not what's going to drive you more business, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let's do a couple of posts a week, and let's transition the time we put there and let's put it into reels. And what they're starting to see is that post that we put up, because we have 3,000 followers and get 50 likes, right?
Right.
Or maybe 150 views, right? Because you want to keep things, everything's about views now. And then I'll spend that time putting it on reels, and they're getting 3 or 4 or 5,000 views on reels. They're like, holy shit, like how that happened. And it's really just Instagram algorithm is saying, I'm going to get this in front of more people outside of your network, because I want more people to start engaging in this side of the app. So, and I challenge everybody to do that. If they haven't put out a reel, just put out one reel and see what type of traction you get. And guaranteed, if it's got the right message and it's something people want to see, it'll probably 10x whatever engagement you're currently getting.
There's a time restrict on a reel.
So reels just like TikTok. It's 60 seconds or less, and they may, because TikTok increased to the 3 minutes, they may be doing that also. But short, sweet, to the point is really what it is. The algorithm is continually changing in reels. With TikTok, if it's a 30-second or less video, they have to watch the full video for it to count as a view. And if it's a minute video, they have to watch 45 seconds. And if it's longer than a minute, then they just need to watch 50%, right? So it just has to be engaging enough where people stay long enough.
They want to stay watching.
They want to stay watching. Yeah. So, but the real goal is to get people to engage. That's really what it is. And that's why, like you were saying, even if someone bought a ton of fake followers on Instagram, or they bought a ton of fake followers, if people aren't commenting, they aren't liking, they aren't engaging, then yeah, it means absolutely nothing, right? Because that's how you know you're growing your audience.
Is that what's getting the post out there more, like more people? Because first I heard, you want people to like it and you want them to comment on it. But now I heard the way to really get your post or whatever, you put out there more engagement is it's the amount of people that share it.
100%, right on the head. Yeah, and that's something I was going to go into. Like all of my posts that have got the most traction, 84 shares, 150 shares, and
that's a shitload.
Yeah, and they can track it. So like literally, when you copy it, even when you text it to somebody, it can track the share. So it's any type of engagement, pulling it out. They've come up with technology that can track it all, which is awesome, because now it's like, okay, cool. What's the strategy around that, right? And there's obviously things still being figured out. With you make the post, and you can kind of put it out a few other places, so you create some of your own shares, and hopefully people kind of spread it out. But it's always going to come down to the content. That's the thing. If you don't put much thought into the content, people aren't going to put much thought into the video, right? And that's the whole thing. People are trying to just, let's hurry up and get this over with. That's exactly the way they're going to feel when they see your video, right? Right. So at the same time, I get it. It doesn't need to be perfect, but the value needs to be in what you're talking about, right? So there does need to put some thought into saying, all right, cool. What am I saying here, right? And not so much how do I say it or do I look good? None of that shit matters. It's just like, what's the value? What do people really want to know? You know what I'm saying? So well, if I was a young kid, and not that you want to make stuff clickbaity or anything, but like the title does matter, right? So it's like, what's the title say? Because that's what I'm going to click on, or I may just scroll right past it, right? So it has to be title plus the hook that you say when you first start off those 1 or 2 seconds, that followed by the message, right? So it has to be 3 things that hit you all at once. So if I'm putting the title, worst mistake I ever made in real estate, boom, you got my attention. And then I start off with, let me tell you about the worst mistake I ever made in real estate, let me tell you about the time I lost $300,000. That's the hook. It's like, okay, how'd this dude lose 300K? So, and then I follow up with the story or whatever the deliverable is, right? So that's basically all it is. You know what I'm saying? So just like the video that I had posted that I said got 150,000 views on the first day, what was the title? It was how to buy a building with no money, right? Which is a ridiculous title. Obviously, you need a loan, and it does take money to buy it, but it kept people's attention. Like, how do you do that? Oh, you still need money, right? You just need to get a loan, and there's ways to kind of do it with no money down. But it's just a matter of putting thought into what's the hook, what's the title. So that's all. So a little bit of thought needs to be put into it. Biggest recommendation I would make: follow people that are already in your industry that have been creating good content, see what they're doing, see what they're saying, see what their titles are, see what their hooks are. And then you can create similar content whenever you see something got a couple of million views. It's like, all right, awesome. Why don't steal the video, but let me make something similar in my own words so I can speak to my audience. So you don't have to always think it up. And this is a YouTube strategy for years. YouTube creators all create the same content over and over again. They literally just copy off each other and they swap, which is totally fine because that's what people want to see. So there's certain people, like I just know, like I follow a lot of Gary Vee's content. If he created a video that so-and-so made that a Seth Godin made, who's also a big marketing guru, I'd have no idea because I don't watch as much of Seth Godin stuff as I do Gary, right? So it's just the understanding you make it your own, people will follow you, and people are going to get connected to you. They really want to know you. Who's Josh? Right? I really like Josh. He's got a wife. He's got a kid. He's a great guy, you know? And then it turns into, I want to work with Josh. That's the end game that people don't think in marketing. It's like the end game is you're getting business, right? Not based on your results. You're getting business based on who you are.
Right. And that's kind of what I not switched my, all my marketing stuff to, but it's it's 75% real estate and 25% of like about me, almost like things that I do, things just we love rainbow cookies, so we started doing like the rainbow cookie reviews, just to have some fun entertainment, because just mixes it up with a little bit of stuff. But I want people to kind of, before they call me because they like me or they got a referral from me, they check me out on Instagram and they feel like they know me before we even have that conversation.
Got it. Yeah. They feel like they know you already. Hey, Josh is a great guy. Especially think about Josh, if you were referred to me and I don't know you, right? And then what's the first thing I'm gonna do? I'm probably gonna look you up. And now if I connect, he's a family guy, man. He's a good dude. And then if it's a mix of family plus really good content, it's a win. I've already decided I'm working with you. I don't even need to talk to you on the phone at that point, right? So now it's just like awesome. So that's really the only win. Personal branding is for everybody, right? That's really the biggest thing I got from when I went to Gary Vee's 4Ds was that we've done a really good job branding FMO and the company. I did a really shitty job branding myself. So now I'm playing catch up myself on everything I need to do and being a good practitioner of what we've been teaching other companies to do, right? So I'm in the same boat. Think about that. So I'm someone who's now is playing catch up, but the only difference is I'm executing. You're right. Most people aren't going to execute, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what that's why when you do execute it, put you above so many people, because everybody could do it. It's just who wants to do it and who doesn't. And speaking of that real quick, so a lot of people are now going the route of hiring a professional company like yourselves because they realize how much time and effort goes into making and staying on top of putting out good content, or just putting out content in general. It's literally a full-time job. In a lot of ways, once you want to get to that level. And when you're putting out content for, obviously you can't be with a client 24/7 unless they want to pay you to be a professional photographer for them 24/7. And if you want to be like the next Ryan Serhant that pays $150,000 a month for his own professional staff, listen, God bless you. But for the average person like myself, in real estate, for example, not a lot of people have the funds or are big enough at that point where they could have their own, photographer with them on a daily basis, right? So a lot of the times they're either filming it on their cell phone or something of that nature. What's the best route to go if they're filming stuff on a daily basis, either selfie style or whatever, having somebody that's with them videotape them? Are you then do you have clients that are then sending you that content and then you're making a TikTok with it or a reel with it and putting it all together, or they're just posting, the raw footage?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we go about it two different ways. We send a film team to wherever they're at, Florida, Texas, New York, right? That film crew comes out, and they have a 45-minute conversation with our creative director prior, which is talking about ideas, brands, vision, where you're going, what audience you're speaking to. We do a competitive analysis. We see what all the other competition's doing in the area, what's working, what's not, and then we come up with, all right, now what are we going to create content-wise? So they have all the ideas submitted to them 2 weeks in advance so they can prep, and then when we come out that day, we want to maximize the 3 to 5 or 8 hours, depending on what we planned with them. So really the goals when we go out there, we're trying to get somewhere between 30 and 60 videos while we're there. So we're getting a ton of content. And then in the meantime, while we got that video back and we're editing and we're pumping all these out, yes, we're asking them and sending them daily. This is trending. What about this idea? Why don't we create what so-and-so just made? And because, we're following, right, West Coast guys. You got Josh Altman over there too, right? Who's like the West Coast version of Ryan Serhant.
Right.
And we're seeing what's working and what's trending. And it's like a lot of it's recreation. Like we're recreating a Ryan Serhant just because you brought him up. There's this one video he made where he's walking through a library that he's selling. I don't know if you've seen that video. He created like this apartment. He turned the library into like an apartment building or something like that. And he's telling the story of it and all this cool stuff. So we just recreated that for someone else, right? Which is pretty cool because I got cool traction, great idea, why not? So it's just the understanding we can send the ideas and then we're pumping them out. But
Are you using like green screens for that, or you're literally going to a physical like?
we're going to a location and we're doing all that. Yeah. So we found the location and all that's talked ahead of time through our creative director. You know, most times people hire a film guy to your point earlier, but they're just a film guy. They're a guy with a camera. They don't know how to call the shots. There's no planning. They haven't worked in directing before. So we have our video team who are trained as directors, but then we have a creative director who has been on sets, put things together, real films, and he understands what it takes to put something together like that. So if we're going in someone's brokerage and you know they may have 100 agents sometimes and we need to break it up into multiple things in the day, that has to be put very well together and we got to make sure none of it looks the same and everybody has their own personality, and there's just a lot that goes into that, right? So or if we're doing you know, a day in the life and we're with somebody for a full day from like 9 to 8 p.m., something crazy like that, we're going to get 100 plus videos out of that day, which sounds crazy, but the only way you can do that is it's so well thought out and well planned.
Right.
Everything's a video. There's a topic. They're talking the whole time. Everything's being recorded. So they have no idea because the mic's on them all day and they're being recorded all day.
Right, just being normal all day.
And they're just like content, but like that clip. They're making notes of everything. And they're like, yo, how'd you do that? Because we just hung out all day. It's like, we just shoot the shit. You have the information. People that have been in real estate for 5, 10, 15 years, think about it. They'll forget more stuff than most people will ever learn if they've been in the industry long enough, you know? So a lot of times just getting people talking will get them thinking like, oh yeah, forgot I know this and I know that. So the goal is now just to put that out. So there's a million ways to do it. The creative director plays a big role in doing that. But yeah, to your point, what you were saying earlier, the phone, big one. Most people don't get comfortable yet doing that. So usually we will try and push them to do that or send a bunch of things to sit down and pump out at some point in time. We try and give them a deadline and hold them accountable to it. And it's 50-50. It's like anything else. Some people are going to do it, some people aren't. One thing we've been trying to implement now is at the end of our filming, we try and sit them down in front of the phone and do a couple of takes so they can get used to doing it, right? They can get a little BS, little ring light, and we're like, look how easy that was. So I'm going to send you 5 topics, and all you gotta do is sit down and do it exactly what I just did right now.
Right.
But so some people are gonna do it, some people aren't. But I mean, word of advice I put out for everyone, you know, one entrepreneur to another. If you're in real estate, you're an entrepreneur. You're working for yourself. It's all on you. If you don't do it, nothing's gonna happen. And if you were growing a business, if you're an agent, now flip it. You're the broker, right? And one day you wanted 100 agents. Your thought process changes, right? You're going to have to be reinvesting a certain amount of dollars back into your company if you want growth, right? If you want to think long-term, right? Because the problem is most people and everybody, business owners and agents and everybody alike, think short-term, right? And short-term thinking leads to long-term problems. And a lot of times when we run into brokerages, and even if they hire us or somebody else as a marketing company, and they're hiring as a last-ditch effort to turn their brokerage around, they should have hired that company a year ago. That's the problem, because there's no hiring or paying for better entrepreneurship or to pay somebody to be a better business owner. Like that's on you, you know? So it's understanding if you're a real estate agent or broker, like that's on you. So if you're not putting a certain amount of money aside for marketing and for content and for branding you, if you plan on doing this the rest of your life, you're just being a bad entrepreneur and a bad business owner. That's really all it is.
You got to reinvest in your business.
You got to reinvest. And the problem is they're constantly thinking short term. I'll just put my money into Zillow. I'll put it into lead gen. I'll put it into that right now money. And all you are is you're the horse chasing the carrot for the next 20 years of your business because you're just focused on now. And if you focused enough on the long-term vision and you thought long-term on branding yourself, in 10 years, you don't need the leads. You're not paying for any leads because everybody's coming to you. Forget your town, right? Exactly. You're the Ryan Serhant of New York, right? So that's the difference. But nobody wants to put in the work. So it is what it is. It's just good entrepreneur versus bad entrepreneur. That's all marketing is. That's all everything is. And we're there to really support the people who think long term and got the vision. Those are always going to be the people who win the most, right? So that is what it is. Yeah.
Now, do you guys have to go out there? Are you going out and meeting with people multiple times a month, or is that one shoot for the month when you get 180 clips? Is that enough for like the month?
Yeah, so if it's video, that's going to depend on the person, right? Some people are coming out more than others, right? Because we have all different types of packages. But yeah, if we come out and we're getting one video day and we're able to pump out 40, 50, 60, 100 videos, depending on what we set up with them. I mean, they're good. They're good probably for the next 3 months. And in the meantime, we just need them to pump out some content on their phone and it's really being realistic too. How often are they really going to put this stuff out? So we have to work with them and work around their speed, right? Because right, that the speed of the team can only move as fast as the speed of the leader, right? And a lot of times people, and we'll put out what we have content wise, and obviously we're there to back people up. And but when we get the content, if we know the person's not going to create any content on their own, and we come out and get 90 videos worth of content, then we're going to need to spread that out until the next time we come out, right? So that's really the relationship. Most people don't realize that marketing's it's a collaboration. Is really what it is. We have to work together to make you look the best, to speak to your audience, to help you win long term, and we're both on the same side. So
100%.
but I get it. You get caught up in the heat and sales and doing all these other things and training. I get it. You got to make money, but there has to be a time again for the long-term vision. There has to be a time set where it's like, okay, cool. What are we doing? Because I just worked my ass off 7 days this week, 12, 14-hour days. All right, what are we doing to someday get you out of that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's the understanding of it. So, and that's all based on what their objective is long-term. That's really what it is. If someone really says, hey, I'm doing good this year, but I want to 10X that, there has to be a strategy in place to get you there, and it's all going to be around branding yourself. So that's really what we try and have those conversations as much as we can. But some people are there and some people aren't. If people want to hire us just to pump out content and hopefully drive new business, we're going to be there to do that. But we'd much rather work with the person who's thinking super long term, gets it. And what we just implemented right now is we part of us taking someone on as a client is we set up a workshop, and we don't really do much the first 3 weeks, because that workshop is to help people understand marketing and how we're going to collab together and what audience are we speaking to. Because if I really ask somebody like, what makes you different than the guy down the block, they probably wouldn't be able to give me a straight answer, right? Or they give some generic, I got better customer service, or I get listings this many days, and I'm like, okay, you and the 30 other people around the block got the same answer. So what really makes you different? Really, what we're trying to do as a marketing company is challenge our clients to think differently, where we can get the message that's really going to be genuine to their audience, to make them differently when we put the content out. And the problem is everybody's speaking the same language, same game, and they're getting the same results. And it's because they're not putting much thought into it. So that workshop for us is literally, it's been like night and day. So that's something that we just implemented not too long ago. That was something,
it's a good idea.
That was something from the VaynerMedia team. I do not take that's something we learned from Gary Vee's team. And we're implementing that because there has to be an education on the client end, because if they don't understand how things work, they're always looking at ROI, and it's like the ROI of people calling you doesn't happen that quick, right? You got to look at the ROI of everything else, right? And if we look at the ROI also as you as a client, how much return on our investment working with you have we got? Everything has to speak to one another if we want the best results, So some people are there, just like some people will listen to this and be like, fuck is this guy talking about? And other people can listen to it and be like, right the fuck on. Like, I need I need to be doing this, and I haven't taken the action, or B, fuck this dude. I'm just going to go out and keep getting listens and make my money that way, which is fine either way.
Right. Yeah. Listen, everyone has their own, thought process, their own end route. But, I'll end it with this last question. What are, you would say, the top 3 things that people are doing wrong for social media? If they're trying to grow following, if they already have a following, or if they're just getting started, top 3 things that, they're doing wrong that's not helping their following and growing their business.
So number one thing they're doing wrong, easy one, is they're not creating enough video content. Average real estate agent creates 1 video a year, one. So they just,
really?
Yeah. So if they just created 1 a week, you're already just 52x your ROI on that. I mean, think about it. It's the vast minority who's doing anything on social, right?
Yeah, I guess, what? I feel like I'm so involved in the people that are doing content that I feel so many more people are doing content. But I guess in the whole scheme of things, there's probably not as many people as I'm thinking actually do content.
I would venture to say 5 to 10% or less are actually engaged in branding themselves correctly or investing in a company to help them do it, right? So very, very, very vast minority, so a lot of people don't place value on it. And remember, we got the old school. How old's the average broker, right?
Yeah.
52, you know what I'm saying? So how many of them just don't get it? And then we have a lot of these young guys coming on board. So 1, more video content. 2, average mistake is they're spending way too much time on the platforms that don't have organic growth, right? So like everybody's so heavily focused on Instagram that everybody's right there. So all it does is just there's just more competition in there. Not Instagram's phenomenal, but if you're going to spend time, again, I would go all in on Reels, right? All in on Reels. And if that means neglecting as many posts to your main feed, that's okay, right? Maybe instead go from 7 posts to 5 or 7 to 3. And I'd rather you put that time into putting out 2 to 3 reels a day, or at least 1 a day. Other thing, LinkedIn, like I brought up earlier, just a lot of people don't even, LinkedIn to me, like, isn't even, when it comes to real estate, everybody says the same thing. LinkedIn, they haven't touched
I would have
it.
never thought of LinkedIn. I honestly was thinking I got to focus more on growing my YouTube subscribers and this and that than LinkedIn. I would have never thought LinkedIn was top.
So here's the key. And again, this is the Gary Vee strategy, which we now implemented. Pillar content, right? So this video we just created, right, is the pillar, right? So we have a 45-minute video that was just made, right? And I'm gonna grab this video from you also. So I'm excited to be on this because I'm like, great, I'm gonna get a bunch of now micro clips from this, so
Right.
I can put out, right? So it's understand. Okay, great. That's a reel. That's something for LinkedIn if I'm talking business. So when you can get on as many podcasts as possible, like when you're on podcasts, Josh, I would get on them to be as greedy as possible. Yes, you're asking questions, so that way it creates a good podcast and there's good content. But at the same time, we want to get your thoughts also. So it's like
100%.
And you did. You let out a couple of those anyway. So like that's a good clip now where it's like, hey,
Right.
I'm going to get on this podcast. And my goal is going to be to get 3 or 4 clips of me making sure I'm shedding my own thoughts. And I'm going to be like, boom, that's a clip. That's going to be a great one for Reels. That's going to be a great one for LinkedIn.
So you don't use technically the same content that you may have one content clip that you're going to put on TikTok or Instagram Reel. It's not necessarily the same content that you're putting in on LinkedIn. Because like right now, a lot of my content, I'm kind of posting the same exact content, like, all at the same time, across all the platforms at once,
Yep.
but not necessarily is the best route because technically some Facebook or LinkedIn all deserve different, a different style.
Yeah, 100%. And don't get me wrong, there is going to be a time and a place for that if the message is spoken to all the audiences. But if you can design it where you know what audience, or is this more business, or are we talking about hiring, or any of that type of stuff, like that whole spiel I gave on entrepreneurship and people not putting one, I'm going to put that on LinkedIn right there. So it's like anything towards business or whoever my audience, I'm going to put that out there. But real estate's a little different though, because the message could be similar, but the last thing you want to be is sales all the time. And I feel like that's what a lot of realtors do. And that's another thing that they do wrong. And if anybody's read Gary Vee's book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, it's the methodology in marketing where jab is put out valuable content that's going to impact somebody else. Don't ask for anything. Continue to jab and jab and jab and jab and jab. Then you put out the right hook. So it's value, 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 sell you something. Right? Ask, right? So, and most people are just ask. So nobody cares, right? So I that would be the biggest shift, I would say, for probably every realtor. Number one mistake, everything sales all the time. And I get it. The market's crazy. They have listings they need to get out. There's a way to operate it smart, but you just got to make sure you're bringing in the value at the same time, So that's a huge one, I would say. And then, for anybody that has not touched TikTok yet, get on TikTok ASAP. And I recommend, if it's too intimidating, just download the platform and just spend an hour a day for the next week consuming content and just see what people are putting out there and look at people in your industry and start to think, could I do that video? Sure, I could. Could I have done a better job than that person explaining that? Probably, right? So and start to look at it. And once you start consuming some content, you can then save a couple of the videos and recreate a couple of your own version. Really not that crazy. So it's not as intimidating as you think if you just sit down and have a plan to go for it, and that type of stuff. You don't need a marketing company. You could do that yourself, right? So now, you'll have to play around more. Yes, like you said, it is a full-time job. It takes a lot of time studying. I do have a full-time videographer that follows me around and stuff like that. Yeah, so it is a lot. But if you don't have that at your disposal, then you should call up a company like FMO Media, right? Like
shout out.
Shout out to our company. Like, give us a call and start to identify what works for me. That's the other thing, because not everything's going to work.
Yeah, and that's what listen, even for the average realtor or some, we'll focus on real estate for this, topic, even for the person that's just getting started. I mean, you guys have a package, I'm sure, for every type of budget. Obviously you could get as extravagant as you want, or at least if you want to just some help getting started, there's always something that could be worked out, I would assume, for the beginning agent all the way to the seasoned guy that wants to be punting content out, every night, day, and every hour in between.
100%. And even just advice, hey, listen, we get it. A lot of people are going to run over a lot of stumbling blocks. So you can even reach out to us just for advice or words of wisdom. I don't mind jumping on the phone with anybody and just giving them a real quick just strategy if they plan on implementing it, and they can take action. Everybody's going to hit the point where they can't do everything themselves, right? Because
Yep.
it is a job. It's a lot. It's nonstop. And having a company or a person to support you obviously makes things a hell of a lot easier. But if you have the time and you're an executor and you're ready to go, there's plenty of stuff out there that'll tell you how to do it, right? There's
100%.
plenty of deals out there. It's just actually executed. It's you finding an extra hour a day or half hour a day or whatever it is, depending how crazy you want to get, that you can put in the morning or at night, where you pump out the content. Really simple stuff.
Now, for anybody that likes what they hear, they're curious about what you guys really want to dive in on how you guys do what you do. If it's a good fit for somebody, what's the best route for somebody to get a hold of you? Where can they check out some of your content creation stuff? What's the best, all that stuff.
Yeah, so you can go to fmomedia.com, so like Frank Mary Oscar Media.com, and we have a bunch of testimonial montages and all types of before and afters. You can go to our YouTube channel, FMO Media, and we have hundreds of videos, all types of testimonials, befores and afters that are there. And you can jump on our Instagram too. Or you can call 631-533-9250. And that'll go to our Patchogue office, 631-533-9250. And you'll talk to someone there, and they'll set up a Zoom appointment with you, really just to do a deep dive and identify what you need, what your company needs, what you're trying to do, and see if it makes sense to work with us or not.
No, I mean, everything sounds great. I mean, I know you guys are amazing people. So thank you for taking the time. I think you guys are probably one of the top companies, if I was to ever think of one on the island, that do content creation. I think you guys are top notch. So thank you for taking the time and coming on. I'm, like you said, I know you guys are super busy, growing nonstop. So again, thanks for taking the time.
Of course, thanks for having me on, Josh.
All right, guys, you have it here. Ace from FMO Media. Anybody that's looking to potentially hire a company for content creation, social media, growing your pages, reach out to them. They'll be more than happy to help. If you have any property you're looking to sell, regardless if there's shit on the steps, if it's a foreclosure, short sale situation, you're looking to put your house on the market, you're looking to buy your first home, you're downsizing, you're upgrading, we do it all. We're here to help. Even if you're just curious what the market is happening, you have a question about any of the mortgage topics, what's going on, give us a call, 516-732-6398. Until next time, that's a wrap.